Alright, hello and welcome back. This game, honestly, let me tell you, I was pretty hyped. I'm trying to get back into playing Pack at least daily, at least getting some ranked games in, but this is the first time since I've gotten acquainted with the game that we've had a big patch shakeup like this. The previous patch I don't think was nearly as different. Now a lot of Pokemon that I'm used to using, especially playing grounds, are now limited in some form or way. And I might have mentioned this in the previous video, but if you looked on the screen, we are going with a Wormadam strategy. The way that I'm handling things now that the Mega / Ultras are basically taken out of the game, changed up. Most of them are now regional. Some of them are additional. Now with that big shakeup, I'm trying to figure out how I want to focus my team comps. Obviously, I could always ask people. I could always interact with other people, but I'm not really a big community person, despite the fact that I look into the Discord every now and then and I share my videos to the Discord. But that's just because in order to get that, I would like to have people come to me instead of me trying to come to people. And it's worked okay so far, and I could always watch other content creators comment on their videos and just get a lot of experience that way as well. So that's just sort of the strategy for me with Pack. I try to improve bit by bit, but if the more independent that I can get with my gameplay, I think the better of a player I'll be. And after playing the game for about 2 months or so now, I think we're in a good spot to really start to define ourselves a little bit more. And so I'm using the team planner. I have a bunch of team planners saved. I go into bot games as I used to do previously with League of Legends. I go into bot games a lot. I use that time to really think about odds and strategies and mechanics and stuff like that. Obviously in this game, mechanics aren't really the biggest thing that you have to really look out for, but in general what I'm trying to do is just develop a knack for the RNG and how many different kinds of comps end up happening through sheer chance. And so now with the ground changes, obviously I don't want to be reliant on portals. I don't want to leave it all up to chance. So we're playing the common Wormadam strategy and trying to get to a point where we can at least have a consistent board. And even if I don't hit Wormadam, I have backups. So we're going to try and play around a really strong level 9 board with 4 bug plus 3 dragon. Well, it's like 3 bug, dragon adds the 4th using Vibrava as with that hook. You will see that later. So let's just start to get into the gameplay. I am trying to get through this because I just finished lunch, and my day is going to keep rolling from there. So we're going to quickly get through this video. If there's anything important that I miss, please do comment it down below and let me know, and I'll get in onto it. But we had a pretty simple strategy here. We rolled just a little bit, make sure we can at least have 1 evolved Pokemon. We don't have a 2 rock. I'm pretty sure this was a this is either a normal Geodude or we start with a Alolan Geodude. I don't remember. I've played quite a few games recently, so I have a strategy now if there's a Alolan Geodude to try and play Rock, but that's not really that good this patch, I don't think. Just like the independent Rock. So I'm doing a little bit of rerolling because I think that if I'm going to try and slam these items, I should at least have a couple of Evos for my ground units. And so here I'm pondering and I'm thinking a lot about like what could I possibly do here. I decided to risk going below 20 gold just to put in another unit. So we go throw an Aeron and I try to protect Piloswine. Now that I have 4 units though, I think I could put them up on that front line. Yeah, put them up on the front line and really try and use that as a way to get through these early rounds without it getting focused down too much. So the reason why this ended up being an exciting video for me to make was because we actually ended up playing against a lot of 13 or 1400 players. I think in total it was like maybe like half the lobby was 1300 and higher. The other half was lower. And we're on that lower half, being only around 1200 at the start of this game. So let's see. Okay, so the additionals we check doesn't really look that good, but because we have the 2 Aeron in, we're gonna go ahead and just grab the Grimer for a round. If it gets a kill, if Aeron gets a kill, then it'll make us just a little bit stronger. But overall, I slammed the Red Orb because every legendary in ground can use it, and it's also good on Wormadam. And then the Soul Dew is also really good on at least 2 of the 3 legendaries as well. Here, unfortunately, we are fighting the Light Electric, and we get slammed pretty seamlessly. Get used to that. That's going to happen the entire game. But I'm trying to strike that balance where there's items that I know I can slam. It's hard if you're playing for units that come into mid to late game. Okay, so we do have normal Geodude this game, which is nice. So now we have 2 rock at least. We can sell the Grimer. I would like to get better at slamming items, however, it's really hard to do so in a manner that doesn't end up punishing you, because again, you can't just remove the items, you can't reroll the items at all. In this auto chess game, in TFT, obviously you can do that, but my goal here is not to play around a Mamoswine, otherwise maybe I would slam the 3rd item combo. I want Piloswine to give me those early game benefits of having strong AoE damage. The Soul Dew works really well for that, and then obviously you have the Red Orb to do some true damage, as ground does stack up a lot of additional stats. I think that would be the best way just to handle the early game, and then we want to get to 50, we want to try and grab some evolutions, and we want to be able to stay above 50 and push consistently to level 9 with a comp that is fairly even. So I'm not going to lose every single round, I'm not going to win every single round. We're going to go even, we're going to conserve some HP some rounds, and then we're going to do pretty poorly on others. So I decided to go with the Cacnea here for the black glasses. Obviously I could check the lobby and make sure that nobody needs it, but I know that no one was playing dark. I'm pretty sure I checked that ahead of time. I think just one person playing dark, and it didn't really matter to me at that point. So we don't have the 4th ground unit. We're not going to try and hard push, because if we hard push and then lose, then we're going to be like basically down gold. It's one thing to hit everything that I want to hit here and then have a stronger board, but if that stronger board still loses, then we're going to, the econ hit's not really going to be that prevalent. Next round, we're going to hit 50 gold, so it's okay if we lose this one. We're going to get through it just fine. Alright, so I am seeing a lot of Swinub, and that's not really that good for me, because I don't want to do anything with the Swinub. I would preferably want to see like the Geodudes, the Marshtomp, and even like the Lairon. Those are the units I'm really looking for here. I'm not going to let myself get baited by the prospect of getting a Mamoswine, and then I'm going to have to sell it later anyways. Because again, econ-wise, might not be the best move for me. We did hit an even 54 gold, so I'm able to hit level 5 for free, and we're positioning now for the Gyarados. Geodude's really, really good for Gyarados because it's flying type, so it always looks like it's doing that bonus damage that it's supposed to do. And just like that, two Geodude ults, and we get a Heart Scale, which isn't the best item for how I'm playing ground. I'm trying to have offensive backline units and not the traditional sort of muscle band stamina units. We do hit an early Numble, which is really, really good here, because that's going to give me an option to pivot a little bit here and have a stronger unit to play around. I go immediately for the closest ground portal so that I don't miss it. Very standard. We also have 54 gold, so we're going to roll down, and we finally hit another upgrade. So now we have Graveler. Graveler, usually I would want to push Graveler all the way up to a Golem with this strategy, because its rock type is way more impressive than some of the others. And then, of course, we're kind of stuck here with the unfortunate Gligar. I'm not going to try and play around it this game. I'm not going to hold items for it. I'm going to go ahead and slam these items onto Numble. And we're going to have Numble Piloswine lead us, and I'm not even going to worry about the Gliscor, because Gliscor was never a factor in my plan. And when I do play around Gliscor, I try to play it in a very particular way. I try to make sure that I have that overlap and that I'm maximizing those synergies, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, Gligar can do just fine in a ground comp without poison, and for that reason, I'm just not going to try and play around it. I'm going to focus on the strategy that I had in mind, and we're going to take advantage of the Numble that we got early here thanks to our portal. So here we have a baby player. Baby players are still pretty scary, and he's up all the way up to 7 here, I think. So really cool to see someone pull that off. He is going to end up getting a rare item later in the game, but for now, it's just a relief to see baby. It means that we get to preserve HP for late game. I'm not really going to worry too much about it. Now here I probably could have picked up another Nidoran, and if we got Nidorina, what would I, the question is what would I really pivot it for? Or, we're gonna hit level 6 and throw it in. I really don't like the Nidos at all. They're a really awkward unit, at least in ground. They play off of each other, but you never really get them together either. So anytime I see it, it's just immediately expendable. Let me know down below, is Nidoran an expendable unit for you, or do you often try and include it in ground in any sort of capacity? And just to show how little worth it has to be, I'm throwing it up there with Mudkip. They're going to try and tank, and then my other 4 units all do pretty good damage at this point in the game, so we're just going to play around that. Not the best situation to be in, but Numble does hit a max revive here, so we're up against the guy playing Dark, and we managed to deal with him pretty well, thanks to the max revive buying us some time to get rid of the Absol. And just like that, we managed to do a really good job surviving the Dark round. There's going to be another one later, obviously, but outside of first place, he's probably the only other person I'm really worried about, because Dark has a way of collapsing on you before you get your maximum ground stacks, so we're going to look out for that. We hit a pretty good reroll down to 50 here, and now we see Gible. I think usually I want to play 3 Dragon with Gible and Vibrava as the 2 ground units, and that way if you hit Zygarde, then you have a pretty free way to play the 3 Dragons without having to go too far out of ground, and then you can pretty much maintain a ground 8 and put in other units, which is the maximum part of the strategy. Wormadam fits in really well because not only is it like the only mainline ranged unit that you can really play around other than Baltoy and Zygarde, but it also has Bug, which synergizes with Vibrava, which summons another Wormadam, and then you have basically 2 carries for the price of 1. It's a pretty common strategy, I'm sure you all know it, but it's what I like playing around this patch, now that we don't really have the Onix and Numble late game to really play around. I also try to prioritize the damage items instead of the resistance items, because there's just a lot more damage this patch, and even after they nerfed ground in the previous patch, I believe, where they stopped it from infinitely scaling, now you're just keyed in a little bit more to figure out ways to include damage into your comp. And again, without the Ultra Mega Camera Up option or the Steelix option, there's a bit less out there for you to take hold of. In fact, we're not even going to see Onix this game, so we're not going to be able to take a comp from Rock 2 to Rock 4, for example. We're going to be stuck on Rock 2 if we hit Rhydon. And then, because we're not going to be able to hit that Rock 4, we're not going to be able to stack up all of those Weather Stones and get all those bonus stats that way. That's another reason why I'm trying to pivot out of that and figure out a way to play ground with a more traditional carry format instead of trying to play the tankier variant that's really well known from last patch. I do know that Rhyhorn can do really, really well if you get Groudon with it. That's obviously a way to play. But the problem with that strategy is that, 1, you have to hit Groudon, and 2, you have to maintain your entire game and get to that late game point and then also hit Rhyhorn. And that means that you're going to be spending the entire game doing basically nothing, just trying to survive. Here we hit the Burmy. I'm obviously thinking, do I want to sell the Piloswine now? We hit a second Burmy. Also notice that Yanma's in the pool, which is another really good unit that you can play around if you end up not being able to play the Wormadam. So here I'm thinking of a way to get to this as soon as possible. We go ahead and sell the Mudkip, because Mudkip is pretty useless. We can lock in the Burmy, and now we put in the Wooper, which will be a better frontline unit. We are, however, playing against Mewtwo, so we probably could have waited another round. That's something that I've been getting a little bit better of. I think I might have mentioned in a previous video. It sucks trying to focus on this UI, because at the top, when the round changes, that's the only thing you can see. There's no way to flip between to see what the next round is. And here we do hit a really good item. We hit the green orb, which I can use in this comp no problem. We hit the trap pinch, and at this point, we kind of want to look for a level up opportunity. And we do have 6 ground, so let's try and figure it out, shall we? Alright, sell Piloswine, we're gonna throw in the Burmy, and we're gonna put the 2 items on Burmy. We're gonna hold the Soul Dew for later, We're not going to put on anything because most of these units we're kind of stuck with. And then I'm trying to think of a way to get the Bug 2 in. I don't know if I do it this round because it just doesn't seem to fit. And then obviously, we hit the third Burmese, so we're just going to go ahead and go under 50 and make sure that we grab that. Alright, so now we're up against this comp again. We have Comfy Raichu, we have a Azumarill, we have Ampharos, and we even have a Clefairy. So this fairy comp is absolutely stunning. If you have like the physical version of it in Dark, Fairy is definitely the special version, so we just get absolutely ran over. But again, I'm okay with that. We're at about 50 HP, which with the way that I play, this is usually good. I think in any game, if you can stay above 50 HP before late game, that's not bad. That's still plenty of lives to play around. And here I'm just sort of rolling for units, and I'm thinking about what I want to do here now that I'm level 7. So we do have 2 Rock, we have 2 Bug, and we have 6 Ground. So this is sort of why I'm playing this way. It's kind of easy now, this patch, to run to a situation where you just have 8 Ground, and you don't really have much else going for you. And that does lead you to having sort of a weaker comp. So this is just me trying to get used to the options that are on the table and build a competent team that I can play consistently in my matches. And there's other things I'm trying to learn how to play on the side as well. But if I'm playing ranked right now, my first go would be Ground, and I do have some reliable backups I can probably play consistently. See, now that we have the Rock 2, once we have that Sandstorm kicking up, we're going to be really, really strong with the extra additional Smooth Rock that we just got. Here, I'm not really looking too much for any item in particular. We're just going to pick up the Magnet. Lock the board down. I decide not to hold on to the Yanma for later. We are only at 50 HP, and we're coming up on that legendary round, so we're going to want to find a way to get to 8 so we can play just a straight 8 ground comp soon. And you will see me change up my comp quite a bit in the late stage of the game because there's just a lot of factors to consider. And unfortunately, it's not really that easy to do for me yet. So, dude, you're going to have to forgive me for that. I don't think our comp's that bad right now. Obviously, Gligar isn't going to really get far without another Black Glass, but I also don't really care. It's not what I'm focusing on this game. We have Numel, we have Wormadam. We are going to pick up a Legendary, hopefully Zygarde, if not Tornadus, and then if we end up with a Groudon, we're just in trouble because we sort of already took that out as an option. Here, unfortunately, the Dracovish gets an absolute one-shot with its ultimate onto my Wormadam, so now I have to think about my positioning here once again. And Numble's trying its best, but this is just a pretty strong comp right now with Fossils. Alright, and so here, I'm waiting for a chance to grab this extra Trapinch, but I'm trying to, again, 40 HP, it's not the end of the world. I'm just flipping my units around now, and I'm just trying to get a gauge as to what's the safest position for Wormadam. Obviously, I could try and play a more traditional format, but every single ground unit sort of wants to have time to scale up before they start to take damage and they start to do damage. So this positioning has just always been the most consistent for me. Especially with a backline unit like Wormadam, it actually ends up being a pretty consistent way to play it. Because we at least have the range threat in the back doing damage, so we're not just taking a bunch of damage for free. And we're able to take care of this comp just fine. And, I mean, Gligar's still doing a lot of damage, even though it's not evolved. So again, I'm not too worried about it. We hit the Vibrava on the next round, and this is around the point where it gets really tough. Do I go ahead and just slam my gold next round and put in my legendary, or is there a better way for me to play it? I do have the Gibble, so if I need to, I can play ground 8 next round, but then we're gonna lose the Rock because we don't have Onyx and we don't have Rhyhorn. We also don't have Stonjourner, and there's the problem right there. The best way usually to play with ground is to have that easy Rock complement because there's so many units that usually synergize with it. But we didn't hit Stonjourner, we didn't hit Onyx on the additional pick, and Rhyhorn is a 1% chance at level 7 and a 5% chance at level 8. So yeah, again, I'm trying to find a way to make it so that I can at least play this consistently without having to rely on odds. The best luck that we've had so far this game is hitting that early Wormadam, and especially hitting the early Numel. on the regional. And if we could just keep those Pokemon in our regional picks, then that's great. So here we have ground and rock portal that I'm looking for. I'm gonna try not to get pushed in, and I actually end up like clicking on my items trying to get around so I don't get pushed in. So at least there's a ground portal left open for us, but it's better to at least not get shoved into a portal. And we do hit the Zygarde, which should be good for us. But it just kind of gets harder from here as we try and fit everything in. I'm going to end up giving the Soul Dew to Zygarde. We're picking up Larvesta. I'm trying to hit Bug 4. We have enough ground units. I sell the Whooper. I sell the Cloyster. We don't have Rock, but we do have 4 Bug, which is pretty good considering 2 of those bugs are going to be ground types, so they'll be stacking. And at level 9, I would definitely want to have a Rhyhorn, and I don't think we hit it at all this game. So again, we at least have a game plan. Now it's really just me flipping things around and thinking about what's the easiest way for Wormadam and Zygarde to do damage. We do have Numel with 3 items, who I need to figure out a way to do more with. I don't know if it came out of my pool at some point or not, but it is unfortunate that it is stuck on a Numel. However, we're playing against Dark, we survived the initial burst, and we do enough damage back to win the round. Alright, so here we see Tyrant, which was added. There's a Fossil player, perhaps the Fossil player ended up putting it in. And this is a really good compliment to the team because this is a way to add multiple rock in. And so now at level 9, we would... Sorry. So now at level 9, we'll be able to play 4 rock and 4 bug with the dragon buff and taking out some of the additional ground units that we don't need, like Numel, for example. Numel will be taken out in this example for Rhyhorn. We might overcap at 9 ground, but we'll have 4 rock with the Tyrant in over the Gibble. And that would be the absolute dream scenario with this Wormadam focus comp. I think that the thing about Dragon that really scares people, and it definitely scares me, is just all the synergies that you can tie in without really having to pressure like a full Dragon 7 comp. You can play pretty flexibly as long as you put the right dragons in. So I'm using the leverage from dragons like Zygarde and Vibrava to try and play a late game comp that will allow me to have the most possible synergies, and Wormadam could be that flexible carry, and sometimes you don't even need the Wormadam. You can do something like a Yanma or any other bug carry, perhaps, if that's just what you have to do. If you don't have it, there's a way to replace it, basically. So I just go ahead and I grab the best item that I can. We're going to put this on, I believe, Zygarde, if not Vibrava. I think my thought process was incorrect here if I put this on Vibrava, because the goal was to save those slots. No reason to save those slots. We're at... Okay, good. We do put it on the Zygarde. No reason to save those slots. 3 item Zygarde is just the goal. We don't have an upgrade. We didn't see an upgrade at all this game. So we gave Wormadam something that's just as good. The Choice Scarf will allow it to at least hit multiple units at once, which can come in clutch, with another Wormadam spawning and throwing attacks as well. That's basically 3 Wormadam attacks each round. And so again, we're holding the Tyrant, and we're thinking about how we're going to make this work off in the late game. Also with Larvesta, if you haven't seen it yet, Larvesta is giving Numel a fire buff. Larvesta is also applying a fire buff. The thing I like about fire, if you're playing Primal Groudon, you can easily play like a fire 4, and then you can give Groudon monster buff by putting in something like a Gibble, and then you can just go for like the auto attack stacking AD, and that strategy usually works pretty well. Here we finally have 2 people drop. I cannot tell you how nervous I was playing this game because, again, I don't have a good track record playing against these more like quick play custom lobbies. It's really hard. It's very competitive when you're not seasoned. Like my account's like level 100. I checked yesterday. Like the people that have been playing this game the longest, they're like level 1000. So it is definitely intimidating getting into these lobbies, especially for someone like me that generally wants to take on those challenges. But you know, I would rather play when I'm comfortable than just force myself to do something. That's just how I am. That's how I grow the best. That's why I do a lot of practice in bot games, and it's starting to pay off. But again, we are up against that super strong Raichu, and we are just getting torn apart. But it's getting really close, which means we're not going to take that much damage, and that's honestly the best option here. Because if we took any more damage, chances are we would lose before we get to the end of the game. We are still second place. Dude's first place with 100 HP. I'm not even gonna consider getting first this game. If I can get second, that's way more than I can ask for. In these games, the goal is literally just top 4. I don't play for first place every game. It might not make sense, but it's like playing Fortnite or Apex Legends or something. The key to auto chess is consistency. As long as there's a plus sign at the end of your game, you're probably in a really good position. That's my philosophy on auto chess. I had it when I played TFT, I have it now. And honestly, there's a lot of skill involved in playing for a specific placement compared to trying to win the game. Because then the way that you use your resources changes. Here I probably should have gone for the X-ray glasses, or I mean even like the muscle band on Gligar would have been good, but I decided to just go all in on damage. We hit level 9, we got the Tyrant, and we grab an extra rock because I can put in another rock unit. We swap out, now we have rock 4, bug 4, but we only have ground 7, which I did not get to see. And the reason why we only have ground 7 is because we haven't hit the Rhyhorn, and our comp's really strong here. Not having 8 ground honestly isn't that groundbreaking. Okay, that was poor wording on my part. It's not make or break really, because unlike other traits, the ground units I'm pretty sure just don't get any additional buff of any sort. It's just a stronger buff. And this is the point here where everything just sort of clicked, and I was just so excited. I was so happy. We hit top 4. There's nothing more that I could have asked for, and we're doing so well. We're doing so good here. The Fakers seem to have lost a round, which doesn't really matter because again, I'm not really looking to beat him. I'm looking to beat the other two at 17 and 5 HP. That's good placement. That's all that really matters in the end. So I'm trying to figure out again how to sort my team. Raichu's going to be attacking the sides. There's still the Dark comp that's going to be, again, attacking towards the sides. So here we're fighting this pretty cool-looking Fossil comp. Fossil Gyarados. Is that Fossil? Yes, Fossil Gyarados. And it just doesn't matter. We have 4 bugs. They're all attacking. We have our ground. We have our stats stacking up. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to take them out. And just like that, 4th place also lost. So now we're top 2. I never thought I would get to top 2 in this lobby. But, our hard work's paid off, our training's paid off. We know literally all the ins and outs about how this comp can play out. So we're just playing it to its best potential. We even have like a random fossil too, because again, a lot of fossil units got added. So I do have a couple of those on my team. So it's not the best scenario that we don't have ground 8. But is it going to really get me first place if I had ground 8? I don't think so. Not against this guy. This guy's really good. So again, I don't know what I'm doing with the items. We're done. We don't care anymore. Second place is perfectly fine in this lobby filled with people 1 to 200 rating higher than us. But if I was able to give a coherent VOD review, please do let me know down below. This is just going to be something fun that I work on. It'll be either the live commentary or post-game commentary, just so that I can review my games. I don't think I sold my income because that level 9 spike was really huge. It really just comes down to the odds. We didn't have good odds on finding the Rhyhorn. We're at 10%. We're at maximum, and at this point, I'm selling stuff. I'm just trying to figure it out. I see another Numble, and I think I do lock the board, don't I? I mean, I only have 11 health, but we are on the PvE round, so we can at least wait this one round and see if we can do something here. But at this point, I'm just happy. I'm thankful that all the practice I've been doing against bots to figure out all the ins and outs of the RNG for ground dispatch, it's just starting to pay off. And I'm still thinking about ways to at least optimize the board. But this isn't that bad considering the items that we got and how we decided to use them. We managed to save enough HP to get this far, and we ended up not losing earlier to first place. We were able to at least hold out and take like the minimum value loss, which is important if you're not planning on winning early. Now we could go Volcarona. I don't think it matters. just rolling and seeing if we can get that 8th ground unit, because I know we don't have it, and all I would have to do is replace one Pokemon and we can get it. But it doesn't happen, so I just go ahead and I put the item on Carbink because Carbink does pretty well with it. I could have put Carbink up front. I could have put Carbink all the way out the side, but again, it's not going to really tank the Raichu that well because it's not ground. It's not gaining anything from that. So we just let the game play out. I mean, it is what it is. First place is it should never be the. I don't want to say first place should never be the goal. It's gonna sound weird, but first place is always extra because there's so many variables going on. There's no way to make a comp that's just guaranteed first every game, because even if you try and guarantee that comp, there's a chance that you don't get it. Like you can do all the planning in the world, but as soon as you get into the game, there's a chance that you don't get what you're looking for. So that's the game. My recording ended, meaning we've fulfilled our obligation for post-game commentary. Let me know what you guys think down below. I had a super fun time playing that game, so thank you to Faker for hosting that lobby. Thank you to everyone that I get to play against. I love this game. It's a great game. I literally completely quit TFT a couple months ago to play this game. It's something that just keeps on giving me a chance to think through stuff, do stuff in my free time, and I mean, to me, there's nothing more valuable than fun hobbies. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, hope you take care.